What do you give a team that I feel like has just about everything they need, especially after bringing in a pass rush ace like Von Miller in free agency? It's time for the 7-round post-free agency mock draft for the Buffalo Bills.
The thing with the Bills is that you got Josh Allen's contract inflating, so you need to start filling the holes. Some of them might be depth holes. You don't need a lot. To me, this is the most talented roster in the NFL. And I said it last year, I'm going to say it again this year. I think this is your Super Bowl champion. So you look to use your draft capital on guys that will make an impact immediately. The Von Miller deal is not going to age well on the backside of it.
No.
It's just not.
6 years, $120 million for a 33-year-old guy.
So you've got a great 3-year window here, I think, to be, if not a champion, to continue to be super competitive to be a champion.
Their first pick comes up at number 25 overall. In the first round, the Buffalo Bills could take Kyler Gordon, cornerback from Washington.
This kid gets pushed down a little bit because he ran a 4.5, and I'm totally fine with that because my favorite place for him to land is with the Buffalo Bills. He plays more athletic than he straight line runs, and we screw these guys up every single year. And they fall down. I mean, Kyler Gordon was going to the mid-teens 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's back of the first, beginning of the second. I do not want to see him go to a bad team. But now, can he be the second corner on the opposite side of Tre'Davious White? Immediately. He's one of those players that I was not in love with him at first. And then the more I watched him, the more I started to like him. Because I figured out exactly what it was he was doing. The 4.52 made a lot more sense to me. It made everything make more sense to me. Because he played with a lot of cushion, so sometimes he got hurt underneath. You're not necessarily going to be able to do that as much in the NFL, but he has that burst. The quick instincts, the quick twitch, all of the things you're looking for in a corner. Needs to improve as a tackler. He's only 6 foot 200 tall. 6 foot 200 pounds. I really like this kid, and I think he's a day one starter. To me, that's one of the biggest needs for the Buffalo Bills. When Tre'Davious White went out last year, it became very obvious very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need the pairing. I don't understand letting Levi Wallace walk for as little as he got in Pittsburgh, but this would make up for that. And Kyler Gordon's a better player than Levi Wallace.
At number 57 overall in the second round, Buffalo Bills, Perion Winfrey, defensive tackle from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Man, that could make that defensive line just unbelievably talented.
If you're going to go all in on we're going to kill quarterbacks, which is exactly what Buffalo's doing, I feel like you need the guy from the interior that can do this. You know, I mean, I like Daquan Jones. I do. He's a middling pass rusher. I've always really liked Ed Oliver, and he's a good pass rusher. You want to make him better?
Mm-hmm.
Put Perion Winfrey on the inside of him. Now you've got 4 guys. You're going to get home with 4.
Yep.
And so any deficiencies you have in the linebacker core, any deficiencies you have in the back half is going to be covered up because you're going to have the best pass rush in the NFL. I get asked more questions about Perion Winfrey than probably any player in this draft class because the pass rush is so intoxicating that fans fall in love with him because he is he is edge rusher impactful from the inside. Now, he's not great against the run. I think he's going to be a specialty player to begin with, which is why you can get him here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have talked about him in the back half of the first round. That's not happening. He's just not a 3-down player. Now, can he be? I believe so. He's really athletic for a guy his size at 6'4", 305. Not the greatest tackler you've ever seen. He falls into that 90%er club of great move, beats the lineman, then the quarterback steps up and woohoo.
Mm-hmm.
The way to improve a lot of those things, put him in between Von Miller and Gregory Rousseau and Ed Oliver and the 9,000 other members of this defensive line you have. Buffalo, more than any team in the league, they want to have a lot of options that do specialized things in the front 4. And this would just be, to me, this would be the cherry on top.
In the third round at pick 89 overall, Buffalo Bills could take Sean Ryan, guard out of UCLA.
One of the most undervalued pickups in all of free agency was Roger Saffold. I absolutely loved that. Because now I really feel like the left side of your line, I'm not going to say it's set, but it's good. So what do you need? You need a guy that can be I don't know exactly what position Sean Ryan's going to play. It really depends on where he goes, because I do think he can be a tackle. I also think he can be a really high-level guard. The Cody Ford thing has not worked out. They've been looking to trade him all offseason. I firmly believe Sean Ryan could come in and immediately be a starting guard. Now, if you wanted to run him as a project with the intention of playing him on the right side, I think you could do that as well. In Buffalo, he would project as a guard. I mean, this is a kid that's hyper-talented. He was the number one offensive line recruit in the state of California coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about how talented he is. The UCLA offense, to me, he was so athletic that I feel like he kind of got washed out in that gimmicky-ass Chip Kelly offense. This is one of the players that I like drastically more than other people in the industry do, because I think he can come in and be a day one starter.
In the 4th round, 130th overall, add to the running back room. You got Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. You just got Duke Johnson in free agency.
You can forget about Zach Moss because he's irrelevant.
Zach Moss is done.
I'm not going to say he won't be on the team. I'm going to say he's completely irrelevant.
Okay. This guy will not be irrelevant, though. Isaiah Spiller, the running back out of Texas A&M.
He did himself, and you can look at this however you want to, he did himself a huge disservice financially, or he did himself a great service competitively by running a 4.63 at 6'1", 215. Here's the thing. I don't care, because I think you were interested in J.D. McKissick.
Yep.
You had the deal done, and he backed out, which I'm bitch move, by the way. Anytime his name comes up from now on and we're not on terrestrial radio, I'm just going to immediately follow it with bitch move. Isaiah Spiller projects to be that to me. I think he can be the combination of what Zach Moss was supposed to be, because he can run between tackles, and what they brought Duke Johnson in for a year to be. I believe in gas station sushi and knowing shit about the Clintons more than I trust Duke Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But he had 4 great games with the Dolphins. Look who they were against. All right, I've played this game with Duke Johnson. I gamble way too much to not, and DraftKings and all the DFS shit, to not know the sleight of hand magic that is Duke Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Will it work for a year? Sure. But long-term, I think you're pairing in the backfield. Devin Singletary is not a complete 3-down back. So he needs somebody that this team is invested in. To me, Isaiah Spiller is the perfect combination of Zach Moss and J.D. McKissick, and would be the long-term running mate. Is this necessarily would he have a huge role in year one? No. But I'm going to be honest with you. Running backs that come out of systems like Texas A&M, I don't want them to have a huge role year one, because they're going to let you down.
Mm-hmm.
Because this kid could not play dead in a Western as a blocker. And that's fine. He's enough of a threat as a receiver that I think you will be able to hide that. And having Duke Johnson for a year, and I can't emphasize this enough either, I am a big fan, especially with these 1-year vet deals. I love having a guy in the room that is exactly what I want my draft pick to be, because my draft pick is going to be cheaper. And there's probably nobody better to teach Isaiah Spiller to be what it is he needs to be in the NFL than Duke Johnson.
At 168th overall, the Bills pick in the 5th round could be, out of Kentucky, offensive tackle Dare Rosenthal.
You ever been in the airport? And I've had this happen when people see me from time to time. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not to this level, but you ever see somebody in the airport and you just go, good God, that's a house.
Yep.
That's a house with a head. That's what Dare Rosenthal is.
Mm-hmm.
6'7", 330. Now, currently, the best thing he bees is big. He bees big real good. And he's stupidly athletic for how big he is. The problem is that he's way more athlete than he is football player. I still can't help but laugh when I see that somebody that's 6'7", 330 ran a 4.8, 840, which means if he got pissed off at me and I decided I'm going to run away from you, I'm 6'4", 255. He's 6'7", 327. He would catch me like I was sitting still, which means I would need a car or a stick. And I think even with the stick, that's probably not enough. Super raw. He's a year away from being a year away.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel that way about all of the Kentucky linemen that are not named Luke Fortner. And it kind of goes to scheme. It kind of goes to the way they were taught. And it kind of goes to the way that Mark Stoops recruits. Mark Stoops figured out a long time ago, I can just recruit gigantic humans. And there's so damn much of you that'll allow me to do what it is that I want to do. Kentucky's not a prolific passing offense. That's why a lot of these guys come in and they're much better run blockers than they are pass blockers. But by God, if you ever teach this kid to actually technique-wise beat people instead of just bees big, he could be a monster of a – there's just not that many people in this world that are this athletic at this size. Could it be a complete bust? It could. Or it could be one of those you look back and go, how did 167 picks come and go before he was selected?
The Bills have 2 picks in the 6th round here in the Sportsocracy post-free agency 7-round mock draft. At 185 overall, Slade Bolden, wide receiver from Alabama.
You remember Cole Beasley?
Yep.
He was awesome. Slade Bolden looks like he could be his child. Oh. Like his illegitimate doppelganger child.
So this could be. So they brought in Jamison Crowder, your favorite Jet of all time,
and that's a great acquisition. Another of my favorite acquisitions.
But that could be a 1 to 2 year rental at the slot position, and this guy could be the heir apparent.
Slade Bolden is about as athletic as a dry heave. He is about as athletic as a flip flop, but he's really shifty, and he's a tactician running routes. He's never going to get past the physical limitations. At 5'11", $195, and he ran just under a 4.7.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to get past that. But I'm going to say the same thing with him that I said with Isaiah Spiller. There's probably no better player to teach him how to be what it is that he wants to be than Jamison Crowder. And long term, you just can't afford those players. All right, so you got $4 million on Jamison Crowder or $750,000 on Slade Bolden. Eventually, you have to make these decisions.
Right.
And so you're all in right now. Jamison, we can pay Jamison Crowder. We can maneuver the numbers. Well, as you keep maneuvering the numbers, you keep losing those pieces. This is what's happening to the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Mm-hmm.
You pay the contract, and now you start. It's not the high end guys. That's not what you. It's a myth that's what it cost you. No, it cost you guys like this, and so you have to foresee a year out when you draft. Slade Bolden. Hell, he may not have 10 catches all year. Wouldn't shock me if he didn't. But a year from now, I'm not going to say he'd be your starting slot receiver, but he would be the go-to, hey, I need 5 yards, go get me 6, because that's exactly what he can do.
Their second pick in the 6th round comes at 204th overall, Micah McFadden, linebacker from Indiana.
You remember that thing I said about Perion Winfrey?
Yeah.
Of he goes and kills quarterback? That's what Micah McFadden does too. The only problem is that he's an interior linebacker. To me, he is an ideal. I'm big on tandem drafting. All right, I have this guy that can do XYZ, but he sucks at LMNOP.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's Matt Milano and Micah McFadden, because everything Micah McFadden does is what Matt Milano can't do. And so you put them on the field together, and you never really know where things are coming from. He's going to be a good situational pass rusher regardless. The problem is that he doesn't really do anything else well. So I think you could get some good special teams value from him off the jump. 6'2", 230, ran about a 4.6. And you just trot him out there for 5 to 10 snaps a game of, hey, you know what? They might throw right at you if we drop you. And they're probably going to, because he's not a good coverage guy. He's not a good run defender either. You're going to have to teach him these things. But by God, you're going to have a role. Because I have watched you at a high level go kill quarterbacks, and you're very, very good at it. Physical as hell. He fits Buffalo would love him. I mean, love him. He would be one of those, and I'm trying to think of a player off the top of my head that fits this, of you're never a great player, but you just embody the personality of this team, and the fan base loves you. He would be that in Buffalo.
Harrison Phillips.
Yep.
He's a big,
two very different guys.
Yeah, but he's a big fan favorite in Buffalo, and I saw a lot of, after he left in free agency, a lot of this. Oh, we just lost a major piece from the fan base, from the Bills Mafia. No fan base like the Bills.
They have the greatest fan base ever, and that's coming from a fucking Jets fan.
All right, final pick of the 7-round mock draft here for the Buffalo Bills. It's 232nd overall, and they're going to take Tyler Vrabel.
Tyler Vrabel.
Yeah, he is that Vrabel.
Yeah, he's old Mike's boy.
Yeah, tackle out of Boston College.
I don't have any idea what position he plays in the NFL. Played tackle at Boston College. I don't think that's where he plays in the league. I think he's an interior guy. Raw ball of clay that's really good to have in the room. This is, and I've said this in other videos we've done of other teams, this is one of the most underrated things that teams care about and fans don't. Tyler Vrabel is borderline draftable until you talk to him.
Okay.
And the football IQ and the just eat, sleep, breathe this game that he has done his entire life has a value in the room. Am I telling you he's ever going to be an elite player? No, I'm not. He's probably a seventh lineman. But if somebody got hurt, he could fill in at multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a good voice to have in your lineman room. And I think he's going to be on a roster for a long time. That in the 7th round is what you're looking for. I need a guy that I'm not going to have to cut 6 months from now. And people undervalue that. And I really like Tyler Vrabel.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of has the Boston College offensive line kind of has the Penn State, Georgia defense feel to it.
Okay.
There's so much talent there. There's 3 draftable players on the Boston College offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
They were not good at the footballs. That kind of makes you wonder, okay, did the 3 of you prop each other up? Why did it not translate? Just you can go down that rabbit hole until you're blue in the face. This is a draftable player, and I think would be an asset to the Bills at 232 overall.
The Buffalo Bills 7-round post-free agency mock draft here in the Sportsocracy. Kyler Gordon, Perrion Winfrey, Isaiah Spiller, just to name a few of the highlights here of the class. It would be phenomenal for a team that is ready to – I mean, they've been on the edge of the next step for 2 years now.
Hey, look, I'm a Jets fan, and I've become a bandwagon member of Bills Mafia, and I'm not ashamed of it. If you like these picks, if you don't like these picks, if you think I'm a big ginger-bearded, mulleted dipshit, you can comment that in the comments. Feel free. Throw your mock drafts out there. I go through every day and grade those. If there's a player you'd like to know how they fit with the Buffalo Bills, you can chuck those out there as well, and I will answer those all leading up to the April 28th, 2022 NFL Draft from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nobody does team-by-team draft miss coverage like the Sportsocracy. Hit that subscribe button so you get all of our coverage, as well as join us live every weekday afternoon at 3 here in the Ingles studio. The Sportsocracy, proudly brought to you by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene, and we'll see you next time.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Surprised we didn't get a Nobody Circles the Wagons.
Nobody
there it is.
circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.